Welcome to Elevate Springfield, where we will dive into strategies and stories that help you rise to your full potential. Each episode, we'll talk about how you can take intentional steps to elevate your life and your business while making a meaningful impact on those around you. Along the way, we're going to bring in the change makers from our community that are already elevating. We'll bring the actionable strategies, you bring the discipline and follow through, and together we can elevate Springfield.
All right, let's go, Springfield. Time to 10x your life, your business, all of it. Time to crush those goals. Time to get after it. Let's go. You are listening to the Elevate Springfield podcast. Robert Farrell here, certified 10X coach, speaker, and mentor, here to bring you actionable strategies. You bring the discipline and follow through, and together we're going to elevate Springfield. We're coming to you again from beautiful downtown Springfield in the Big Dog Construction Studio. Hey, we've got so much going on in Springfield right now. Make sure you are participating. Get out there, network with folks, be a part of the community, support local businesses, support local nonprofits, and let's go. We can all grow together. So, hey, another great episode for you today. We're going to get right to our guest after the break. Hey, Springfield, when it comes to reliable, high-quality roofing, you don't want to leave things to chance. That's why you should reach out to Acosta Angeli Roofing, your local roofing experts serving Springfield and surrounding communities. From quick, dependable repairs to full replacement, from residential to commercial, they are your trusted pros. Call them today at 217-993-2748 or visit their website to book your free quote and inspection. Don't wait. A little leak now could lead to major damage later. Trust the local experts, protect your home, and get peace of mind with Acosta Angeli Roofing.
All right, and we are back. Joining me now we've got Lacey from Wild Time Exotics, and we've got a capybara?
Little capybara, yeah.
All right, cool. Well, we're going to talk about why he's here, or she's here. Why he's here. But before we do that, let's learn a little bit about you, Lacey. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, so I went to school for something totally different. I went to school for criminal justice, but I'd always had a passion for exotic animals. We had them as pets, as kids. So, my background was different exotic animals. My first exotic animal that I purchased myself was a Coatimundi, raised off my babysitting money in junior high.
So, you bought one of those.
And I loved exotic animals, but I didn't want to work in a standard zoo where you feed the animals and you clean up after them. Don't get me wrong. I love visiting zoos, but I just wanted more out of that. I wanted the closeness aspect with the animals. So while in school, one class away from a degree, I met someone who did this, and I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. Foolishly, maybe back then, but I'm so glad I did. I dropped out of school, and here we are almost 12 years later. And it has been the best decision of my life.
Yeah. That first one you said, Coatimundi?
Coatimundi, yeah.
What is that?
So they're like a raccoon of South America. Think raccoon, but way more intelligent and way more ornery. Just a very rambunctious ball of energy animal with a very sensitive nose. They love anything that smells really strongly, be it sweets or perfume or laundry, anything that's really strongly smelling.
So what drew you to criminal justice? Why were you going down that road?
I don't know. It's just something that I really had a passion for, I guess, kind of figuring out why people committed certain crimes. So not necessarily just criminal justice in general, but criminology, the study of why different demographics are more prone to certain crimes. So I just found that stuff interesting, and I still do. I'm just very happy with the path I chose instead.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, let's take us back 12 years. Mm-hmm. At the beginning of this, what did it look like? What was the impetus to say, this is how I'm going to do it? And what did it look like when you started?
It was really just kind of, it clicked. This is what I want to do. I want to take an opportunity to get people up close and personal with my animals, because people are so disconnected. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a place with, like, for say a fennec fox, like it's a fox. It kind of looks like a dog, and I'll walk in somewhere and I've had people go, oh my gosh, it's a kangaroo. And I'm just like, what?
Right.
No, not even close. So there's such a disconnect with humans and exotic animals. And I mean, I can tell you right now, when I go to the zoo, I don't stop and read every sign. And no one has ever admitted that they stop and read every sign because people don't. So it's a trade-off for me because I get to take my animals to events. People are building that bonding connection. And then they're forced to learn about the animals in the same hands. So it's really a double whammy. It's me getting to educate the public on animals that they don't typically get a chance to learn up close and personal about.
That's awesome. So what kind of events are we talking about here? And have they changed over the years?
They've not changed too much. Every once in a while, something new will pop up, like a random music video or a wedding here and there. But for the most part, it's been libraries and birthdays, daycares, schools, things like that. During the summer months, libraries are extremely popular. You know, a lot of libraries have a summer reading program. So we do a ton of summer reading programs for different libraries, and we travel all around Illinois, and we do a fair amount in Iowa as well.
And before, I don't want to scoot by, you said a random music video. You
Yes.
hired to be in music videos with your animals?
I was in a music video 5 or 7 years ago or something. The rapper, I guess, was a native of St. Louis, and his team contacted someone else who was not able to provide the animals that they wanted, and the other zoo guy referred them to me. And so, yeah, we went and shot a music video over 2 days with my ring-tailed lemur in St. Louis area.
So that's what he specifically wanted, was a ring-tailed lemur? He
specifically wanted a monkey or a lemur, and I don't have any quote-unquote monkeys, so I provided a ring-tailed lemur. So, yeah, that was definitely a different experience.
That was
awesome, very cool.
Though. Any other outside-the-box kind of events like that you've had over the years?
Weddings are not too many, but they're really fun. They're really different. I mean, people go to weddings to have a lot of fun. So it's a very laid back environment. I think we've done maybe 1 or 2 bar mitzvahs. Yeah, not too much outside those random ones, but a lot of the birthdays, libraries, daycare schools,
and educational events and everything. Yep. Any type of animals that you really, don't want to say love best, but like educating folks on?
It's hard to say because you have people who like certain animals a lot, and then, like we were talking about, don't like other animals. So it varies. I love the feedback that I get from the crowd. So I would never want to take, a bunch of spiders or snakes to a crowd that hates those. I'm going to thrive off of the feedback that you're giving me. So I want to educate you and teach you and be able to get you touching, maybe, an animal that you're interested in and not absolutely terrified of. Now, I'm great at giving a little bit of peer pressure and maybe getting you to at least look at something a little closer that you're afraid of. But yeah, it varies. I like to educate on all of them, from our tarantulas to our snakes to our cute sloth or our skinny pigs.
Tarantulas and the snakes are those two probably the ones that if people are scared of stuff, it's probably those two?
It's going to be those. Yeah, it's going to be those for sure. And I forgot to mention nursing homes are something I do a lot of as well. And nursing homes are so fun because you get people who have, been terrified of spiders and snakes for 80 some years. And they're like, what the heck? Guess I'll check one out now. And then, so I just did one last week where I had this very sweet older lady who I'm guessing is 80 some years old. And she's like, put the spider on my head, put the tarantula on my head. And she just hung out with the tarantula on her head for a good couple minutes while everyone got their pictures. And, all the younger staff members were just in disbelief, like, no way I would do that. But here's this, older lady, wise beyond her years. And it's just like, it's fine.
That's awesome.
So,
well, tell us about this guy right here.
So this guy is Captain, I'm pretty sure is the name we're going to go with. He is about a month-old capybara. This is the world's largest rodent species. He is going to get to be over 100 pounds full grown.
That'd be a big boy.
Oh, yeah. He's going to be massive. So do you know what rodents have that never stops growing? Their teeth.
Oh.
Their teeth are constantly growing.
No idea.
They're always looking for things to chew on. So right now he's just sucking on my finger because he just finished his bottle and he wants more. But he was chewing on my shirt, and it looks like I've got quite a nice hole in my shirt now. Shirts aren't what he needs to chew on to keep his teeth short. He eats a lot of hay, like a huge amount of hay and then different vegetation every day. And that helps keep their teeth short. Otherwise, their teeth can actually grow into their brains or into their jaw, and it can be lethal for them.
Grow into their brains?
Oh, yeah. It could be a very bad thing if they don't have stuff to chew on. So that's all rodents: beavers, guinea pigs, rabbits. All those rodents have teeth that grow their entire lives.
So they have to eat something that files that down,
to chew on,
a little bit. Huh. Wow. So is what you just said about him, is that the typical educational speech that you would give to a kid or a group of kids that's right there?
Yes, a little bit. I don't want to just talk the entire time because no one enjoys someone talking at them. I like to try and make it like a conversation. Like, what do you think they're doing by chewing on all the hay all the time? Are they that hungry? So I really try and make it more of a conversation. That way it's not just a speech, because you're going to drown out a speech in your head after a few minutes. So in a way, yes, kind of like that, but
Sure.
definitely a little different as well.
Okay. So how have you grown over the years? How has the business changed?
Oh man. So we definitely did not start perfect. It was just getting started and going. I did not like public speaking at all.
Mhm.
And for some reason, having an animal in my hand just kind of allowed me to not be as nervous. So starting out doing birthday parties and standing at a room full of kids staring at you is intimidating. And it was nerve wracking at first, but I just kept going and getting the confidence and getting the feedback from the kids and the grown-ups, and just hearing those giggles. And then, oh my gosh, this was the best party we've ever been to. My confidence has grown. And yeah, now I really have no problem talking in front of hundreds and, probably even thousands of people. Is like maybe 2,000, maybe has been my biggest crowd. I don't have an issue with it as long as I have an animal in my hand. Yeah.
Any tips you could give people? Public speaking is a lot, talking about scared of animals. A lot of people are scared of public speaking. Any tips you could give them, what you've learned?
I don't know that it's a tip, but I just assume people aren't looking at me. They're looking at the animal. So that's I guess how it kind of works for me. I don't have to be second guessing what is going on at my face, or if I'm making, an awkward face motion or anything like that. Just assume they're looking at the animal.
No, I'd imagine with the kids, you mentioned best birthday party ever. I'm sure you hear that a lot, and that probably never gets old, right?
It doesn't. There's no better compliment than having us come back for another child's birthday party, or a sibling's birthday party, or doing a kid's 10th birthday party and coming back a year later for their 11th. There's no bigger compliment than being asked back for a family.
So how does that work? Are you booked by the hour for an event? What does it look like?
So we have different packages. Our packages are, for the most part, 1 hour and include 7 animals, with the exception of a few little differences. So they get us for an hour. They get to request certain animals, but we never guarantee any animals. Animals are, good days, bad days, sick, and all that. So we try our best to get the animals they request. And then we're bringing out 1 animal at a time, giving general age-based information on those animals, because explain for a 2-year-old's birthday party is not going to be the same for what I explain for a 20-year-old's birthday party. Sure. So bringing out 7 different animals during that hour. And then on the other hand, we have a 90-minute package, which is more animals, more time. And then they're getting a lot more hands-on time with the animals, because we're not as rushed with that hour. And then we also have our sloth encounter. And our sloth encounter is a lot more like this, actually. We're kind of seated. It's a smaller crowd. And it's really just a quiet, calm conversation. Whereas birthday parties, as you can imagine, they can be quite loud and rambunctious. So again, I kind of feed off that reaction from the crowd. But with sloth encounters, sloths like it quiet and calm. So we all stay quiet and calm.
I would imagine the sloth encounter is a pretty big crowd pleaser. I think everybody loves the sloth, right?
Yes. Yeah. Actually, so this month has been crazy busy for Onyx. That's our sloth, Onyx. Okay. We typically don't do more than 2, maybe 3 encounters a week with her. And that's really pushing it. That's more than we've done in a while. And we're doing a bunch of mini sloth encounters this month for people for Christmas gifts and stuff. So we're close to the 2 to 3 encounters a week for the month of December. And so, yeah, we've been busy with Onyx, and she's just a trooper. For the most part, she has slept through all the encounters we've done so far this month, which is perfect. We want her to sleep or eat, because that means she's comfortable and happy with this situation.
Okay. How old's Onyx?
That's like asking me how old I am. There's a lot of days I struggle to remember. Sure. So I got her when she was under a year old, and I got her in 2019. So she's going on, 6 years old, 6.5.
How old do they get? I have no idea.
They have to be around 30 years old in 30? Captivity. So she's by no means even middle age. She's still a young lady.
Okay. Do you ever do corporate events? You get called from businesses and they say, hey, we want to do something cool for our employees.
Yeah, that's a good thing to bring up, because I'd definitely forgotten we had done a lot of those in the past. I've done some Christmas parties or holiday parties for some very fancy bigwig offices in Chicago and St. Louis. I've been right there on, I think it's Wacker Street in Chicago, and overlooking like the river. Oh yeah. So I've done some really, really awesome events in downtown St. Louis and Chicago for corporate events. Done petting zoos for Rivian, the car company. Yeah. We've done like trade fairs where, they're selling different products, and companies are looking for a way to get more people to their table.
Wow.
So we've brought a couple of our animals to different trade fairs to try and bring some traction to different sellers.
We might have to do that. I'm also the president of Local First Springfield. I think that would be a cool collaboration. Get you out at one of our events. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
So we'll
I talk a lot about kids, but who doesn't like animals?
Yeah,
Everyone likes animals.
I was going to say, these corporate events, I mean, everybody probably turns into a little kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that? Everybody just turns into a little kid when they had the animals there.
And then, like I said, I can dial up that peer pressure just a little bit, get everyone holding the snake or the tarantula. And, whether or not you like the snake or tarantulas, the great thing about those is you're not going to want to look away. You either love them and you're going to continue watching what they're doing, or you're terrified and you don't want to lose sight of them. So those, although they're not like as big a request as a sloth is, they tend to draw a larger crowd and people stick around longer for those.
I bet. No, that's so cool. Just like you hear with the kids, best birthday party ever. I would imagine that's the best holiday party ever, right? So cool.
Some of my favorite events have been very elderly birthday parties. I've done I think it was a 79th birthday party. Those older events where it's not kids are wonderful. They're a chance where I can, not say the silly little kid jokes and really be an adult and work with that peer pressure and get friends to do things they wouldn't normally do.
That's awesome. So I'm big into marketing. With your company, kind of tailor-made for social media, right? So what are some things you've done, like social media-wise, over the years to promote your business or to market your business?
We've done radio. We still currently do the morning news a couple of times a year. But Facebook has always been the biggest. Facebook and word of mouth, I should say. Facebook has been great to us, knock on wood. And people love sharing cute pictures or videos of animals. So, having to tag in there about sharing this with someone who would want to hold our sloth, or tag someone who you think needs to hold this tarantula. People love to tag it and share their friends. So Facebook has been the best for us, and seeing the statistics of people who are viewing and sharing our things, we're able to really dial in and figure out what exactly is going to work the best with our demographic. And then really having been able to figure out who our demographic is, women of a certain age group, i.e. moms.
Yeah, no, that would have been my guess.
Yeah.
It's kind of your ideal client base. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not very often that I get dads calling to book their kid's birthday party. It's moms 25 to 44.
Right. Well, my wife might be calling you for one here soon, I would imagine. Right in that age range. So that's awesome. Any other strategies you've used over the years to grow the business?
In the beginning, really trying to get our name out there, we did a ton of free stuff. When I started this, I still had a full-time job. And that full-time job was what paid my bills and what funded everything with the animals, because the animals weren't bringing any money and we were brand new. So we did a ton of free petting zoos, birthday parties, just to get our name out there, asking people to leave us a review so that people could see that we weren't just, a nobody. Having reviews on your Facebook page kind of makes you a little more well-known, I guess.
It kind of legitimizes your business.
Yes, legitimizes us.
Absolutely.
So, doing a ton of free things, like t-shirt giveaways or a little meet and greet with our animal in the beginning. A lot of free stuff. Who doesn't like free stuff?
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's awesome. You ever delve into any of the Facebook ads? Do you ever have to do any of that type of stuff?
I don't do those too often, but we are getting ready to open to the public next month. And we're planning on opening, I think, January 5th.
Come on, let's go.
So we're definitely going to be pumping out some actual Facebook ads where we'll be paying to make it seen by a larger audience, essentially. So Springfield has been great. We've got a lot of feedback from the posts we've posted about it already, but we definitely want to get into some bigger markets. People have been asking us for years when we've traveled all over, do you have a place we can come visit? Do you have a place we can come visit? So now I need to go back in and target those communities of Chicago and Peoria and Bloomington and St. Louis and make sure they're seeing now, hey, you finally can come see us.
So what does that look like? You say you're opening to the public and you're going to have a place that they can come visit.
Yes.
What's that look like?
It's totally different from our birthday parties, totally different from our presentations. It's going to be a lot more sitting down, having conversation where animals have the option to come see you. So our animals are very fond of some certain foods. For example, he loves his bottle. So we'll give people an opportunity to give him his bottle, give him some of his romaine lettuce, or his favorite right now is kale. So giving people an opportunity to feed him he's going to be more likely to go up to them and fall asleep in their lap or cuddle with them, much like he's doing right now.
Uh-huh.
And then with our sloth, we'll do sloth encounters as well. We'll be able to go into her big enclosure and feed her some lettuce. People will get the chance to pet her if she's up to feeling pet, but no holding her. And then our wallaby, we'll do some encounters with him as well. And he is always happy to take some grapevines or an almond for a treat. So those two especially are happy to take any treats offered.
Very cool. So you said the enclosure. What does your facility look like? Does it look like a kind of a zoo-esque or what?
In a way, yeah. So, I mean, I have my federal zoo license. The difference is between me and other zoos you might visit. I own my zoo, okay, not the city. So I don't get people's city taxes. I will never be a huge, massive zoo like St. Louis Zoo. My animals are in regulated enclosures that the federal government has said that, it needs to be this big, it needs to have this air quality, this lighting, everything. So while my enclosures are perfectly made for them, they're not the no-walled enclosures you might see at St. Louis Zoo where you're looking down into the animals.
Right.
That's not how
those
we're
are
set up.
$1 million enclosures potentially.
Absolutely. Our encounter center will have a big gated area where you can come in and sit down either in some chairs or we'll have some cushions on the ground. We have it fake grass put down, so it really feels like you're kind of out in the grass with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe during the summer, we might actually end up moving it outdoors, but that's certainly not the plan in January at least.
Well, I guess I had never really thought about it. Pretty strict rules on, the air quality and all the stuff that has to be involved in an enclosure.
Yes.
I just guess I never really thought about it.
So, like I said, I'm regulated by the federal government. They could come in at any time to my zoo, any event I'm doing, any event, and double check and make sure that I'm following all the rules and provisions that they require us to do. So for example, if you have a dog or a cat, you can just put them in your car and go for a drive, right? Not me. My animals have to have a car seat. That's what I tell the kids. They have to have something that they can ride in to keep them safe. In the event that something does happen, I have to have special things on their crate that denote that there are live animals contained inside. So just for example, that's something really basic. I can't just have my capybara hanging out on my lap while I'm driving down the highway.
So for air quality, I mean, do you have to have certain filtration systems and do you have to actually test your air quality to make sure you're good or how's that work?
So it wouldn't be things like that. It'd be making sure there are not chemicals in the air.
Oh,
so
gotcha,
if
okay.
any painting or any cleaning, things like that are done, proper ventilation and making sure it's not harming the animals breathing or anything like that. Yeah.
No, that's exciting. So what the date you said on that was January?
January 5th is what we're aiming for. I kind of wouldn't mind being open maybe on the 3rd or the 4th. That way we can get some kids right before they go back to school, maybe any last minute Christmas presents. But the 5th, I think, is for sure the date and maybe a day or two earlier if we can make it happen.
Well, speaking of last minute Christmas gifts, if somebody wanted to do that, where would they go to do that?
Yeah, our Facebook page, which is just Wild Times Exotics, or you can check out our website, wildtimesexotics.com. We have gift cards we're selling, or we can just make up a generic gift card saying, hey, you got some special animal experience that someone's getting for you, but it's a surprise.
That's awesome. Really cool experience brought to the people around here.
Absolutely.
I absolutely love that.
Absolutely.
And speaking of really cool experience, I'm ready to look at another animal. Can we get something else out and check it out?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. All right, so we got a new animal here, but we got a new person sitting in the seat too here. Jonnie, the other side of Wild Times Exotics. How you doing, Jonnie?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we start talking about that snake right there, let's talk a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I've been basically the general manager for the zoo for the last 12 years. I have an associate's degree from Lincoln Land here in Springfield in business administration and been working for Memorial in their billing office, their finance department for about 10 years now.
So you're still there?
Yep. So I full-time there and then I kind of moonlight, if you will, at the zoo. It's a lot. Typically in the summer, I work about 60 hours between Memorial and then doing all the stuff that we need to do, the programs and stuff. When you factor in all the cleaning, the management, as well as the traveling aspect, I'll run a lot of the petting zoos that we do for more like state fairs, bigger community events. I'll do those, whereas Lacey handles the more intimate stuff, the sloth encounters and all of the kind of birthday party stuff like that.
Okay. So how long you been a part of it?
So I always like to say I married into the business. This was my wife's passion. She's always been big into exotic animals. This was a dream of hers. It's cheeky, but when we started, we always joked that I didn't believe in the company. I thought that first summer when we started, I was like, Springfield's not a big enough market for something like this, and we'll do it for a little bit. It'll be fun, and then it'll fizzle out. We won't make any money. And I was like, oh, it'd be fun to get some animals, and we'll get to dive into this. And then it was just every year we just kept getting bigger and bigger. We started with 5 animals. And the next thing you know, we had 10 and 15. And then next thing you know, we're kind of splitting the responsibilities where Lacey started doing all of it and I was helping out. And then it turned into, all right, well, this is your side of the business now. Sure. And it just basically took over our whole lives.
So you happy to be wrong about that then?
It's been the thing I am most happy about being wrong in my entire life. Right. It has been a dream come true, watching Lacey's dream be realized, and then me supporting my wife in a way where it allows us to really kind of explore what's possible. I mean, going into this, like I said, I had no idea what the ceiling would be. I mean, I thought it was basically miles below of where we are even now. So it's been a journey and I've loved every second of it.
That's awesome. Well, tell me what you got here. Snake. I've never been a real big snake guy, but that's a pretty cool looking snake.
Yeah. So this is Joy. We specialize in a lot of animals that are very easy to not only take care of, but interact with. So Joy is a ball python. They are from Africa, and they're one of the most, if not the most common reptile in the pet trade. She's what's called a special morph, which gives her that white color. It's what's called pied, but she is a pied ball python. She's approximately 8 years old, and they stay about this size, a very manageable size, and they have one of the sweetest temperaments in all of the animal kingdom altogether. Everybody gets a little hung up on the creepy crawlies and stuff we don't understand. I tell people all the time, these are the things that are sweet. And a lot of times those mammals are things that are just a little bit more unpredictable. One of my favorite things at the zoo is working with this species in specific, because it is such an easy animal to get people to come over their fears. Over the last 10 years, I've seen people that'll walk up to our booths or be at a party, and they'll go running out of the room when we get the snake out at first. And then by the end of the show, they're begging me to stay because, well, I think I worked up the courage to do it now. And that's one of my favorite parts of this program is getting to get people out of their comfort zones and then really trying to fix a lot of the ignorance and just bad information we get about especially reptiles and snakes. I mean, the fear has just been, it's always perpetuated by things like media and movies and things like that.
So were you always into reptiles, or did this get you into reptiles?
Yeah, so that's where the serendipity of it kind of comes in. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with especially constrictor snakes. I would always go to the library and get as many books on things like pythons and anacondas, and I always had a passion for them, and I didn't really have an outlet for it and never really thought I could. My mom always said if I got a snake, she would kick me out of the house. And then here I am with probably 15 at a zoo. It was just something that worked out. It just got to the point where we started getting successful with the zoo, and I was like, well, now's the opportunity I can start diving into the things that, I was genuinely interested in, but never thought was real. And I was like, oh man, I can get some cool animals that I think are really cool. And so it wasn't planned, but it ended up working out great.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So you talked about you're still working full time, right?
Yep.
And Lacey was talking about how she was working full time early on with the business too. How important is that grind to be able to go through that, right?
Yeah, it's everything. Like I said, I have a business degree. I studied under some fantastic business teachers, professors at Lincoln Land. And one of the big takeaways for us, the entrepreneurship side of it, is you constantly have to be grinding. It has to be something that you absolutely want. Everybody wants kind of that easy road. And I think as humans, we just naturally want to seek the path of less resistance. And when you want to go dive into your business, I mean, sometimes you have to do both, right? Like you have to pay the bills. So I have to have insurance for me and my family. And so Memorial, and then my wife's job that she used to have, paid the bills. And then we just basically had to stay hungry on the weekends, and you had to stay basically willing to sacrifice your time. And that grind is everything, especially starting out.
Yeah. And that's the story of a lot of successful people is They grind through it, have the full-time job along with the side until the side becomes the main thing, right?
Yeah.
It's just the way it works.
It's uncomfortability of success, I think, is just learning to survive in those waters, but have that goal in mind and just not giving up on it. Yeah, for sure.
No doubt about it. Anything else you've learned on the entrepreneurship side running this business?
Man, where could I start? I've made plenty of mistakes. I can tell you all the things not to do. You know, my wife is, through several of the jobs she had before the zoo, she is a fantastic marketer. I mean, she did basically all of the marketing in the entire existence of our zoo, and it allowed me to focus on the things that needed done that aren't as glamorous. You know, I'm very good with accounting and bookkeeping. And once we got successful, that was something that we had to take care of. It's not something that you can just kind of ride on. We have money in the bank. It got to the point where we had to actually keep track of things. Being able to adapt and do what your business needs was a learning curve for me. I mean, even with that business degree, a lot of times the experience changes. You know, you can have all the education you want or need, but you have to be able to adapt that knowledge and learning on the go, learning new processes for things, learning new ways to be profitable, learning new ways to more or less make the right decisions in business sense. A lot of it you just learn on the way for your company.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Like I said, when you're first starting out, the money's starting to come in. You might not have the processes and all the stuff put into place, but as you grow and grow and grow, it becomes really important for you to put those processes and procedures in place and all that. And sounds like that's what you're doing on the back end of things.
We always refer to it as I do the boring stuff, and I'm the one with the Excel sheet. I'm the one fixing our taxes, and I always tell her, it's like, listen, you get to do the fun stuff all the time. And it's because we do this side, and our ebb and flow that we've had over the years really is, I think, in my opinion, one of the keys to our success is you have to be able to work with a good team, and you have to be able to delegate, especially at that upper level, and just knowing both of our strengths. I mean, for instance, today, I'm not necessarily the guy in front of the company. I mean, that's always my wife's thing. And she does, at least in my opinion, a far better job. But being able to know your strengths and separate the work and do the things that are the most efficient and effective without stretching your own self too thin. That's I tell all my employees all the time, you'll make mistakes. That's when you get careless, is when you get tired, when you get fatigued. And it's the same thing for management as well. It's if you're stretched too thin, then you're missing things through the holes, and knowing who can do the best job in the best place. And really for us at the zoo, it's been me and Lacey the whole time. And we've really kind of lucked out at basically complementing each other's strengths and then fixing each other's weaknesses.
So no, you got to do both. You got to have the quote unquote fun stuff, and you got to have quote unquote the boring stuff, right?
My stuff.
It all goes into making a successful business.
And we do the same thing with the animals. We have this nice rivalry between whose animals are cooler. So I'm always going at her like, oh, well, yeah, but you don't have the cool lizards and snakes. She's like, well, yeah, but everybody wants to see the sloth. So
that's true. Yeah,
it's nice, but it's healthy, because then it promotes, or it pushes us to being, well, I got to get something that's even more wow factor at the zoo and pull my side of the weight. Or when she gets a client that's incredible and you're just like, man, you did your side of the zoo. And so we just constantly are able to reconnect after we divide it, and then we come back to conquer it, I guess is the best way to put that.
Absolutely. So you said, talk about employees. You said employees at Memorial or employees in the Wild Time Exotics?
So Wild Times currently has approximately 4 or 5 what I would consider regular employees. We offer per diem positions. We typically carry anywhere from 3 to 5 employees. Our work is so seasonal. Our summers are absolutely insane. I'll have 3 teams running in a single day. And so our employees typically will facilitate like petting zoos and our bigger events where we need multiple handlers. We need more staffing just to physically do things like setting up a table, setting up a tent. And they've been trained. And part of that process is training them on how to do the animals and present them to children, present them to kids. And then also we've now started opening positions as far as like cleaning and feeding at the zoo. And we hope to, with this new project that we have at the zoo, we'll offer some more positions within the community to basically facilitate that side of the project. So potentially even presenting the things like the sloth and the capybara, as well as doing general cleaning at the zoo and the zoo facility.
What kind of training do you go through with your employees?
So the training is wild. Depending on what position we typically have people start at, it just kind of depends as far as what training they'll get. The cleaning and feeding aspect of it is much more structured. We have procedures in place for how to safely go about cleaning, and that typically takes a few trial runs depending on the person and depending on their ability to pick up the skills. The presenting of animals is a whole nother ball game. So I get so many people that are like, man, you have the best job. And I'm just like, it is great when it's great, but you got to think about all the rough time, all the cleaning you have to do, all the dirty work that you have to do. And, we'll do shows, and it's not uncommon to get peed and pooped on when you're in the middle of a show and you're surrounded by a crowd of people, and you have to get people used to that. And I always tell people, I can teach anybody how to work with these animals. I mean, that's not the hard part. The hardest part of what we do, in my opinion, and at least over all the employees I've had as far as training, is getting people to be entertaining. So people want to come up. They do love the animals. They're there to see the animals. Make no mistake, but you have to learn how to, first of all, be confident when you talk about the animal, and teaching people that. A lot of people that get into our business or our type of work, they think, oh, it's fun playing with the animals. A lot of it is public speaking. A lot of it is knowing the information.
It's a huge part of it. Yeah.
A lot of it's also being fun. I mean, if I monotoned children all day, they're going to get sick of it pretty quick. So you have to find your own way to be engaging and entertaining. And I always tell people, like, I can show you that door, but you have to be the one that figures out how to open it. I can't open it for you. But the training is a wide thing. It starts from the basics of animal safety to animal care and presentation tips and practices, and then all the way to finding their niche as far as how to be engaging and how to be entertaining.
How excited are you for the opening here coming up?
I'll tell you what, I'm also the foreman, and I don't know anything remotely blue collar. I've been white collar my entire life as far as my career. And so I am learning how to mess stuff up in carpentry constantly, every day. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be done with the project. It's just not something I'm necessarily good at. And I do welcome the challenge, and I've learned a lot. But this is my wife, Lacey's dream. She has always wanted to do stuff with animals. And I can't tell you what this means to her and it means to me. It's been a wild ride. And it's been a ride we love, but this is going to be the start of the next chapter, and I could not be more excited.
I love it. Well, before we bring Lacey back on here, I always like to ask all my guests if you give us a piece of advice, one on the personal side, one on the professional side, to help folks elevate their life or business.
Sure. So professionally, something that's helped me a lot, especially at the management level, the general managing level, you have to be willing, especially when you get successful, you really have to be willing to roll those sleeves up again. I mean, your job as a manager, an owner, is far more than just signing checks and figuring out schedules and doing the marketing. I mean, if the zoo needs someone to put on a show, I mean, and you don't have the employees, you have to be willing to go do that, because that's what the company needs. And remembering, when you're owning a business and running a business, you have to be the guy. You have to be the person that's going to take the success and carry that on your shoulder, as well as the struggle, the failures. And I think a lot of people, when it starts getting easy and successful, they don't really want to do it anymore. They don't really want to do that grind. And we're in there every day cleaning cages. We're in there every day doing the vet care stuff and doing the booking, doing the boring financial side of it. And it's just, you have to be willing to roll those sleeves up, regardless of where you are in your journey with your company. As far as personal life, for us, the personal and business side of our lives are as about intertwined as possible. I mean, my daughter even presents animals at shows, and she's 5. And so it's really hard for me learning to cope with that as an entrepreneur and as a private person. Learning to balance your life is something that you cannot put any more emphasis on anything else. I mean, that will allow you to be so much more effective in anything else you do. Giving yourself the time and really prioritizing family first has always been something, especially since we had our daughter, that just has to take precedence over everything. You know, we've built a system for our zoo where things work great, but really at the end of the day, what does any of this matter if my home life isn't great? And I think with a lot of people that get into entrepreneurship, it takes your life over. And in some ways it should.
Absolutely.
But it's as a personal, you lose so much of yourself when you work all the time. And I think it's very important to always remember that yourself, your mental health, your personal health, as well as your families should always be your number one thing.
That's awesome. Well, good talking to you, brother.
It's been great, man.
All right. Let's get Lacey up here for one more animal. What do we got?
For sure.
Right. So cool. Now we've got Lacey back, and she has a sloth with her. So tell us a little bit about the sloth.
So this is Onyx. She is a Linnaeus two-toed sloth.
Okay.
Everyone refers to them two or three-toed, and that's totally not correct. It's two-fingered or three-fingered because they all have three toes. It's their hands or their fingers that are two or three-fingered. So I call it two-toed. Everyone calls it two-toed, but it anatomically is two or three-fingered. So she is our Linnaeus two-toed sloth. She is almost essentially full-grown. She might get a little chunkier than this, just depending on where she is in the week. Because when sloths go to the bathroom, it's about once a week, and they lose 10 to 15% of their body weight when they go.
Once a week?
Yeah. So she can vary in size depending on where she is at in her week. Yeah.
That's crazy. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Are other animals like that, or is that like a unique to a sloth?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know about all animals,
Right.
but for sloths, yeah, typically about once a week, and in the wild, it can be even a little bit less frequent than that because food's not guaranteed in the wild, right? But in captivity, food is guaranteed,
Yeah,
water guaranteed.
it.
So they're in a little more of a schedule. She's about every 7 days.
Huh. No idea.
Yeah.
I would imagine she's a pretty big crowd pleaser. We talked a little bit about that,
She is
right?
a big crowd pleaser. Yeah, she is a big fan favorite.
Yeah.
And I like doing events with her too because it is a nice change of pace to just sit down and chill and have a nice quiet conversation. And it's just one of those times I can actually relax and not be putting on, a presentation or an act or anything. And I can just be myself.
Are they truly like super slow, like people think?
Yes and no. So us eat a ton of produce, and that doesn't have many calories going in, right? Okay. So not a lot of calories going in means not many that they can get rid of. So can she move fast? Absolutely. Is she going to move fast if she doesn't have to? No. So she moves slow basically all the time because she has no need to have to move fast. She's not protecting herself from any dangers in the wild. There's no harpy eagles or jaguars at our zoo that are endangering her life. So yeah, she's a pretty slow mover for the most part. Now, I will say when I first got her, I reached in to try and pet her, and she'd never met me before. Of course, I was going to startle her, and I just was too excited, wasn't thinking. And she was terrified of me. She tried to bite me. And then after about a week, she was calmed down. It was all good. I can pet her. And then it took about a month before I was actually really able to hold her against my body. And they do tend to gravitate towards one person, and I am certainly her person.
Sure. How active are they over like a 24-hour period? Anytime I've ever seen one at a zoo, it's always, now I'm moving.
So they're very lazy animals. They're solitary, first off. So they're not like our Coatimundes that want to play with each other. They live alone, and they sleep on average for about 20 hours a day. So this is a very lazy animal. It even goes as far as laziness in their digestive system. They have a multi-chambered stomach. They essentially take about 30 days for food to move through their system. So, for example, if she went to the bathroom last night, that wouldn't have been food from 7 days ago. That would have been food from about 30 days ago.
Wow.
So very slow moving digestive system.
Super slow.
Yes, very slow.
We love Disney, and we love Disney movies and everything. And Zootopia has a sloth. Sloth. Do you ever get like when kids are at your events and everything, where a certain animal was in a movie, a recent movie, and they really loved that animal for a while?
Yeah. So obviously around, what was that? 2017 maybe, when Zootopia came out, sloths were hugely popular. And we didn't have Onyx at that point in time, but a mentor of mine had a sloth in their zoo, and they got him really not long after the movie came out. So obviously they took an opportunity to name theirs Flash. So that name was already taken, and From what I know, Onyx is a girl, so we went with Onyx as a name. But yeah, we have fennec foxes that are shown in Zootopia as well, and people always like those. Capybaras, those are popular from the movie Encanto from a few years ago. So
Is that what
yeah.
Nick Wilde is? Is he a fennec fox?
Nick Wilde is a red fox.
Okay,
Well,
all right,
we don't
gotcha.
have any of those. The little fox that
Oh, the little
acts
guy.
as-
Yeah, okay.
that's a fennec fox.
Yeah, the little guy with like the deep voice or something. Yeah.
That always acts like he's in a bad mood, which is perfect because
Yeah.
fennec foxes have a RGF, resting grouch face. They
Okay,
always
yeah.
look like they're in a bad mood.
That's funny. No, that's pretty good marketing opportunity for you as well. You know, you throw Flash up against yours, right?
I do get in the habit of not always wanting to go for the obvious names, though. I like kind of ridiculous names for my animals. So sometimes I'll lean into them. Sometimes I don't. For example, my wallaby. I didn't go with a kangaroo theme named. Finding Nemo. P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney.
Okay.
My wallaby's name is P. Sherman.
Gotcha. All right.
As I lean into it.
Very cool. Any other interesting names for any of your animals?
So also in the movie Encanto are Cotamundes. And then I think they've also featured Cotamundes in Dora, the kids' TV show. So I have a Cotamunde named Dora. And then I have a Cotamunde named Diego. We've got a ring-tailed lemur named King Julian. So obviously.
Oh, yeah.
That movie Madagascar. Not a kids' TV show, but I'm a big fan of Jake Gyllenhaal. So I have a snake named Snake Gyllenhaal.
There you go.
SpongeBob, we have a yellow snake named SpongeBob. Charlotte, our tarantula. So yeah, there's a couple there.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit with Jonnie about the personal side. Anything you do out there to help elevate your life personally?
It's hard because this is not a job you can clock out of. There are middle of the night feedings. There are animals getting sick and having middle of the night vet visits. It's really hard to separate our personal life from our business life. And in some way I like that because it's, this is something I love. This is what I wanted. This is what I chose to do. And so I'm in no way, shape, or form complaining that there is no separation. Personally / professionally, I'm learning that I can't do everything. I need to go to where I am the most needed and I am most beneficial for my company and animal care. And the little things like preparing food bowls or cleaning up feces, that's stuff that, I have years and years and decades really of experience with, and my time can be spent better off somewhere else. So being able to delegate those jobs to others, as much as I would rather just do it all myself, because I am very set in how I want things done. I do sometimes struggle with stepping back, but I have been getting better at stepping back and giving others an opportunity to do things so my time can be spent off better opportunities.
Absolutely. So how do you feel like you elevate your clients or provide that exceptional experience for them?
Always learning and being able to admit that I don't know it all. Reaching out to people in the zoo communities who have done this for much longer than I have, who are much more knowledgeable. I don't have all the answers to my animals. I don't have all the answers to running this business. So being able to look to others who have more experience, who have more knowledge, who are able to teach me better ways to be a better owner and a better parent for my animals, and just being able to admit that I'm not always right. Yeah. And there's always an opportunity for growth. There's always an opportunity to do better by my animals and by the public, providing, such a niche opportunity, such a different, entertainment aspect, but educational right there along with it.
No doubt about it. What are you most proud of over your last 12 years with this?
Saying that I did it. I think that the statistic is most small businesses or micro businesses don't make it past 5 years. And I certainly had a lot of roadblocks in the beginning and a lot of things that made it hard working a full-time job and then
pushing that grind
hard on the weekends and not giving up and depleting my personal savings account to make sure my animals were always taken care of, just not giving up. And then now seeing my daughter have that same love for animals and seeing her want to, be like mom and dad, watching her at home with her stuffed animals, act like she's giving an animal presentation like I do. Yeah, that's a really heartwarming moment.
Absolutely. I know she's pretty young right now, but do you foresee her potentially wanting to be a part of the business later on?
It's so hard to say. I mean, you ask her on any given day and we go somewhere and she's like, oh, I want your job. Like we went to the dentist last week. She told the dentist she wanted to be a dentist, and she'd never mentioned that before. We asked her for her first day of school this year what she wanted to be when she grows up, and she said a pizza maker. So, I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
We'll see. Plenty of time for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Lacey, appreciate you guys coming in. It's been phenomenal.
This was awesome. Definitely a different experience. Never having done a podcast before. So learning experience, which I'm always up for.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. You announced the opening right here on Elevate Springfield. So we're excited to be a part of that and be a part of this next step with you guys. So with that, tell everybody where they could go to learn more about you, buy those Christmas gifts, all of the things.
So we have a Facebook, of course, Wild Times Exotics. We have a website, wildtimesexotics.com. Or you can always call. Texting is great as well. You know, I've a little girl and I have a ton of animals to take care of every day. So texting is often the best way to get a hold of me. And I can be reached at 217-415-3243.
Awesome. Well, again, appreciate you coming by.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right. We're going to let Lacey and Jonnie get back to elevating Springfield. But for the rest of y'all, we'll be right back.
Looking for expert tree care with hometown integrity? Look no further than Sangamon Tree Service. They're your trusted local pros, delivering quality workmanship, exceptional customer service, and fair, honest pricing every time. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, their team brings professionalism and care to every job, big or small. Call the name your neighbors trust, Sangamon Tree Service, or visit them today at sangamontreeservice.com. Sangamon Tree Service, rooted in quality, built on trust.
All right, come on, Lacey and Jonnie. Phenomenal stuff, right? Hey, had a great time in here with all the animals. So cool. First time we've had animals in the studio, and was able to bring my family along with me, and they had a great time visiting with those animals. So, hey, if you have an event coming up, birthday party or otherwise, give them a shout. They will do a phenomenal event for you and have a great time. So before we go too far, I want to thank our friends over at Acosta Angeli Roofing, your local neighborhood roofing pros. Hey, whether you need just a small repair all the way through to a full replacement, whether it's residential or commercial, Acosta Angeli is the way to go. The entire team out there, Juan, Tony, Zach, do a phenomenal job and will take care of you as well. So a couple of things with what we talked about with Lacey and Jonnie. A couple of bigger parts was, hey, embracing that grind. It seems to be a common theme amongst the guests on the podcast, folks that have started their own business and had to have that initial grind to get to where they are now. You know, maybe they had a full-time job, maybe they had a couple of jobs as they were getting this business off the ground. And that was one of what Lacey said she was most proud of, just doing it, to be able to say that she did it through all the difficult stuff, through all the trying times, through all the other jobs and everything else, was able to do it. And now 12 years in a successful company. Same thing with Jonnie. He talked about working full time while he's also working for the zoo, how that grind is really important, and how a lot of times when folks get a little bit of success, they tend not roll up their sleeves anymore, like he put it. But he said, no matter where you are in your journey when you have that business, you got to continue to roll up those sleeves and do whatever needs to be done or whatever you can for the business, not essentially rest on your laurels, right? And, you know, if you're a 10X thinker like we are, that is not an option. We're always going to continue to roll up our sleeves and keep moving. Another thing that Lacey talked about was being able to delegate. We talk about that a lot in 10X as well in terms of scaling a company. You have to be able to scale through people if you want to grow. You can't do everything yourself. You got to be able to have the right people in place to be able to grow that business. So, hey, so much great stuff with Lacey and Jonnie today. Highly recommend you giving them a shout for any of your upcoming events. Over the next couple of weeks on the podcast, got some great guests coming up right around the holidays and take us through New Year's. We've got Michelle Chomlin coming up later this week. We've got David Tim coming up. We've got a number of folks, and we're going to continue with a bang into the new year. We've got a lot of great stuff on tap for the Elevate Springfield podcast and brand in general for 2026. We are excited to be able to bring some of those things to you, and we'll be dropping those here real soon. Be right back with more after the break. Looking for personalized insurance with hometown care? David Hilst, American Family Insurance Agent, is here to help you protect what matters most: your family, your home, and your dreams. Whether it's auto, home, life, business, David and his team are proud to serve the Springfield community with trusted advice and reliable coverage. Local service, real relationships, peace of mind. Call today or stop by their office. They can build your dream protection plan together. Call 217-726-6343. Well, thank you for joining us today, everybody. Appreciate you making us a part of your day. Hey, don't forget, while you're out on social, check ours out. You can check my personal one out at Robert Farrell at everywhere. Check out those Elevate Springfield pages, those Big Dog Business Coaching pages as well. Check us out over on YouTube. Give us a subscribe, give us a like or a follow on any of those channels. We would certainly appreciate it. So hey, take what you learned today. You bring the discipline and follow through, and together, that's right, y'all, we're going to elevate Springfield. Be great.
When I first walked into Shudokan Karate Club, I was just looking for a way to get stronger, but what I found was so much more. Here we train in traditional karate, the real stuff, passed down through generations. Every punch, every kata has purpose. I've learned self-discipline, confidence, and how to protect myself. Not just in class, but in real life. It's not about being aggressive, it's about being prepared. This is more than a club, it's a way of life. Join us at Shudokan, traditional, powerful, real. Ki-ai!